Hey everybody, this is Kait and Caroline from the Bob Dylan Fan Club, and this is the first in a new series we're going to do about our life on the road, seeing Bob together, and how the Bob Dylan Fan Club all got started.
Yep.
So we met in 2002, correct? Yes.
Yes.
In Dayton, I think was the first time
Yep.
we met each other in
Yep.
line at Hara Arena, which was an interesting show. Well, I mean, the whole day was kind of interesting because it was on the Air Force Base, I think, there
Really?
in
Wow.
Dayton.
I don't even remember that.
Do you remember all the security when we were going in?
Oh, I do remember that actually.
We
Yeah.
had to get in
Yeah.
boys and girls lines, and it was very
Yep.
military-esque entering the show.
Yeah. I do have a somewhat of a memory of that, but
Yeah,
I definitely remember meeting you there.
yeah.
Um,
I
because I
remember
hadn't
you
met.
being in your sleeping bag,
Yeah.
warm, and I was
Well, I
jealous
had
because I
driven.
wished I had the sleeping bag. But yeah, how did you get there?
I can't remember what. I would have to look up what the show before that was, but I had driven with our mutual friend Chandler. I had given him a ride from the previous show, and he is well known for from anyone who has given Chandler a lift to a show is that he like immediately falls asleep in the car. And so he did that, and it was a long drive, and he slept the whole way from could it have been St. Paul or maybe Chicago? Um,
Yeah.
but we had, a substantial drive after the show. He slept the whole time. We got to the venue and I woke him up and I kicked him out and I said, "All right, you have to go get in line so I can get a 2 hours sleep." And so he was happy to do that. And then I slept a little in the car and then I got out and you were actually the first person with a few other people that were there. And I remember meeting you then.
Yep. It was a cold day in line. I remember that. And I was there with my friend Robert from California, who I had met because I had gone out west for the first part of the tour for my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
And I met Chandler then and a bunch of other friends like Mike and all kinds of people. So when you knew Chandler and I knew Chandler, I was like, okay, yeah, all right. This is good. This is good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. So I had been seeing Bob Dylan actually since 1981. And for the most part, would only go and, I would see him once a year whenever he came to where I was living and maybe travel, for a second show if he was within a few hours away. And then after Love and Theft came out in 2001 was when I kind of like to say I lost my mind a little bit and decided that I needed to see way more Bob Dylan because that was such an amazing album and those live shows were so, so great and so consistently good. So 2001, 2002, really upped my game and is when I started traveling further and kind of planning vacations around Bob. But I was doing it by myself pretty much. And so, those were the days when the vast majority of shows, or a lot of them, were general admission. And so you met people pretty quickly who had the same affliction or obsession as you did, just because we were all waiting in line all day. And so we had a few sort of mutual friends, I think, that were in that group before we actually met each other.
Yeah, I know there were some shows we were both at, but and probably were like next to maybe at the concerts, but we just didn't
I
meet
know.
the times.
Yeah. Yeah. I do remember seeing you, and I'm trying to remember like what shows I think maybe like because we met in the fall of 2002. And
Yeah.
I definitely remember seeing you in the summer of '02, like maybe out east, like Augusta, Maine. I don't know if you were at that show that was right after Newport. So I think you were
Yeah.
because you were at that Newport show and maybe at the Buffalo show where they did the first time that they used that like announcement about Bob. Like,
Yeah, Hamburg.
yeah, I remember seeing you and thinking like that woman's at a lot of shows and she's cute and she's young and feeling a little bit like, who is that? Like not like there, with those GA shows and there's competitiveness, and when you met somebody, then you would kind of work together to save spot, not save spots, but like, spell people when they had to go somewhere and you're all waiting in line, but
Yeah.
definitely some amount of competition. And you had piqued my interest before we had talked.
I think surrounding that, I was thinking about other shows later on that we went to together and being at shows. I'm trying to think who specifically, maybe Mike from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And after one show, like we all knew that we were going to the same one, and it was kind of like race cars. Like who
Who
we're
can get
like,
to their car
okay,
first
we'll
and
see you
start
there.
driving?
Just like, how do we get there?
Right.
We gotta get there. No stopping. All right. Gotta
Right.
get gas before we head out of town. That kind
Yeah.
of thing. It was
Yeah.
like a, competition, but friendly competition,
Yeah.
because we
For the most
all
part. Yeah.
knew each other and
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely fun and definitely really different than going to a show is today when it's
Yeah.
seats.
I feel like a lot of younger people don't have a concept of what those days were like. And I think that's part of the reason to do this podcast, was just to talk a little bit more about what it was like back then and just some of the funny stories, because everything was kind of like a misadventure.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
definitely.
remember anytime we went to a show in the winter or spring, it was like we got into a snowstorm
Oh
immediately
yeah.
or like something like that. And it was
Yeah.
just like, okay,
Yeah.
that's crazy. And yeah, just, like you were saying earlier, just we didn't have fan meetups because all the fans just met up in line. I mean, sometimes
Right.
sometimes we would do stuff like, I don't know, we
Yeah.
had a special thing
But
at,
more often after, because
yeah.
everyone's like, oh no, we're not going to meet at a bar or restaurant like 2 hours before the show because we're all in line for the show.
It's so funny now to me to have all this leisure time before a show.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
I
well,
mean,
I have this whole day to just
yeah.
do whatever I want. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not used to that, but
Yeah.
I'll try to.
I'm still not used to it. I mean, there's definitely something nice about it. But there was obviously a lot of things great about just everybody having that equal chance to be in
Yeah.
the front row or be in the front few rows and really have that connection with Bob. And just the fact that it was a lot of them were GA standing room shows, and so people were really getting their groove on in a way that I think really creates an energy that is only there with GA shows, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty much guaranteed that anyone who's willing to sit there all day really wants to be there. And so they're not
Yeah,
going to be like just chit chatting or
yeah,
doing random stuff during the show,
yeah,
because they've like invested a lot of time into being
yeah,
there,
yeah,
which is different than now. And I think, something, it's nice to have like the intimacy of a theater at times, but it's also fun to know that you're going to go to a show and you're going to have people that really want to be there to see Bob around you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not just okay. Well, I'll pay this $600 price, to see Bob Dylan once or whatever. I mean, which is fine. Not to.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody
Yeah,
should see Bob Dylan once,
yeah,
but you know, when you get the chance to see him more than once, then you can really get the feel for what's going on more than just
yeah,
one off. But
yeah.
anyway, so yeah, we met in Dayton, and that was kind of an intense getting into the show. I'm trying to think of what happened during that show, if there was anything crazy, but I don't really remember that.
I would have to. go back and
Look at your.
listen. Oh, are we allowed to say that?
Anyway, but then at Kent, I think we more got to spend time with each other than we did.
Yeah, because I was right behind you or right in front of you, one or the other in line for that show. And I think you had a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, it was Marcel's birthday.
Okay. I
And
was trying to remember what the occasion was.
I thought I should bring a bottle of champagne because earlier in that tour, I was in Sacramento with Marcel and Robert, and they brought me bottles of champagne for my 21st birthday at that show. So I
Nice.
thought, well, this is a great thing to do. We should do this all the time in line for people's
Yeah.
birthday. I think, did we have
Yeah.
a cake too?
I think there was a cake. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah. But I mostly remember the champagne because that was special.
I was like, I had traveled quite a bit. I met a lot of people in the Dillon pool over the
Right.
couple of years before that. And especially I met my friend Lewis, and
Hmm.
I was going to buy a ticket from him for Detroit, which was another show we were at in 2001
Yes. And
together.
I know we were like right next to each other, but it's weird that I don't really remember you.
Don't, we sat inside in line, I think, for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was nice because it was the middle of winter or
They had a big sign that said
late
no,
summer.
no guns or. Allowed.
Yeah. Well, it's Detroit,
Anyway,
The thing that I mostly remember about the waiting for that show was that we could hear the sound check and Bob did a Christmas carol. I think he sang "O Come All Ye Faithful."
I don't remember that.
I totally remember that. And I mean, maybe, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, obviously during the day when you're waiting for a GA line, there's times that you go grab lunch or go to the bathroom. But I remember being able to hear the sound check, and a bunch of us were kind of like listening right at the door. And he sang, I'm pretty sure it was "O Come All Ye Faithful."
And then he
Um,
wore a Santa Claus outfit.
yeah, then he wore that red suit, that fucking styling Motown
It
red
was
suit.
so
That's right.
awesome.
Yeah, really awesome. That was a great show. In fact, that show in particular, that Kobo Arena show, is one that I know kind of flipped the switch in me. And I was like, oh my God, I have to go see more shows with this current band and these new songs.
Yeah.
Even though I had been a Bob fan for, 20 years already at that point and been seeing them live for that long. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I met my friend Lewis at his house in Columbus, and we drove up there together. And I think Bob had been in Columbus the night before or 2 nights before or something.
Yeah.
And I had gone to the Columbus show, and this was like how early on driving around was to me. I drove there, I went to the show, and then I got totally lost in Columbus, and I could not figure out how to get home from there. And I just drove around, and I kept stopping at gas stations and like asking people, "Do you know where Route 33 is?" And people were like,
Columbus. Oh my God,
"I
that's
don't
so
know what
funny.
you're talking about." But anyway, when I had gone up to meet Lewis in Columbus, I realized that I had bought a ticket from him in Reno, Nevada, like the year before that. Like I had found a ticket online, and I
Oh, okay.
went and picked it up from him, like in his room or something at the show. And I was like, I know you. I met you before in Reno.
Yeah.
And that kind of like he knew a lot of other fans already. And
Yeah. Yeah,
he
I definitely felt like when I met you that you were like really connected to the super fan community. And I didn't really know anybody.
well, he knew a lot of people from around
Yeah.
Michigan and Ohio. So
Yeah.
he always wanted to go and see shows, and he always was like, just do you want to go? Do you want to go
Yeah.
drive down to Florida and Texas? And I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. We met all kinds of people out there. Man, yeah. But anyway, we met, and in Kent, we connected over the champagne, and that was another crazy getting into the show day.
That one I remember really well because I remember thinking, because famously, Kent, where students like died in the 60s or early 70s, whenever that was. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be a reliving of because it was on the Kent State campus.
Yeah, it
And in
was
fact, I
right
remember,
next
I
to
don't
the
know if
park
it
for
was,
that.
yeah, like was it you and I, or maybe it was me and Steve Icy or somebody, we walked over to the memorial for the Kent State, four students who were shot.
Yeah.
And so I definitely remember because they let us in to so the line was outside, and then they opened some doors and let us into this little holding area that was before the venue, where the seats were, or not the seats, well, seats I guess, and the floor. And then they just stopped. And so everybody, it was like a crush.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. That was
It was
really a
really
bad situation. But, they should still do more GA shows. They're not that dangerous, really, in general. That's not the point of this video.
we held it together though, and we
Yeah,
made it in there. And I don't know, was that the show that we were like jumping over the turns? They have turnstiles at the bottom
I think that you may have done that,
because I think Robert was at that show too. And I think
and
he
then the
jumped over the
turnstiles weren't
turnstile.
working or something.
Yeah, something weird was going on.
Yeah, yeah,
But anyway, we got in there. Crazy. And
yeah,
that show, I think, like, I remember Old Man really standing out to me at that show.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the show where Bob was doing a ton of covers.
Yeah.
The Warren Zevon covers, or not the show, the tour, the
Yeah.
Warren Zevon covers, and Old Man, and
I was
of
so lucky
course,
because I caught all of those covers, even the ones that he ended up ditching, like Boom Boom Man.
yeah, and Lawyers, Guns, and Money. Yeah, those
Yeah, that would
first,
have been a
yeah,
good continue. That was cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everything. Let's see, what else was at that show? Kent. Tombstone Blues was like in the second spot that around then, and that was a really
Oh
good.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, all those shows were so good.
yeah. Definitely was a really prime prime moment in live Bob.
So I'm thinking like, okay, what was the next show after that? Was it Indianapolis that you was that in between there? Between that and Ann Arbor?
That is possible. I know I went to, was it like the late, early and late? There
Yeah.
one year in Indianapolis, there was early and late.
Yeah. So between Kent and Ann Arbor was Indianapolis. And I went
Okay,
home. I took Robert
okay,
back to the airport. I went home.
yeah.
You were
And I
there.
went to those, and
You
that's
were
actually where I first bonded with Lacey, with Steve. I remember just talking to him a lot in line. And then there was somebody there who was handing out panties. Had gone to a Target and gotten a couple of six packs of fancy panties, and was handing them out to people that were at the front of the line, knowing that we would be down front. And when Bob saying throw your panties overboard, then a bunch of people threw panties up on stage, and Bob fucking loved it. He picked one pair up and was laughing and stuff. So that was cool. That was my pair that he picked up. I mean, they weren't used panties,
yeah.
just
Everyone
just to
wasn't
be
required to put
clear.
them on before they threw them at him.
They were store bought and never used
That's good.
previously.
Hygiene
But
is key.
that's my biggest memory from Indianapolis.
I think I remember Steve saying, like, after the first show, they cleared everybody out.
Oh
And
yeah.
there were already a lot of people in line for the second show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he just like hid inside in a
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
they let people in, he could just like bust up there and
Yeah. I ended up in the front row for both those, the early and the late show, and I can't entirely remember how. I think maybe I just came out, but didn't go to the back of the line because I was like, well, fuck it. I've been here all day.
That was not the first. Well, we would
Oh,
learn later that that was not Steve's first or last try at hiding inside the venue for
yeah.
getting in back in, getting in.
Things that you have to do.
Yeah.
Yep. And
So
then it was Ann
I
Arbor,
missed
which
those
was
with
my hometown at the time.
yeah.
So I guess I don't know, I had other people that I knew coming to the show, but I didn't really spend it with them because none of them wanted to wait in line all day, and a few of them had seats and stuff.
Well, you and Nicole were in line.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yep. Yep.
I remember going
Um,
to get coffee, and I was going to get you guys coffee, and they didn't have any creamer at the wherever I went. I don't know where I went to get coffee. And you were like mad that there wasn't any cream for the coffee. And I
oh,
was like, oh, well, I have sugar. And I was like, you were like, I don't want sugar in my coffee. And I was like, okay.
sorry. So
Yeah.
aggro. I think what happened actually, like, so I went to those indie shows. And then if I recall, now I'm thinking about it because Nicole didn't live in Ann Arbor anymore. This is when she was living down in Houston, but she had flown in, and I drove like straight from the Indianapolis shows, and I maybe like slept in a rest area for a while and then went to the airport and got her and
Yeah.
then went straight to the venue.
I
Didn't
was
even go home.
I went to Ann Arbor the night before those shows, and I think I just slept in my car
Yeah.
somewhere. Just whatever. Trying to maybe
And
in
that
the
was it.
Chrysler parking lot, actually.
Yeah. Well, that was at Chrysler Arena, which was the basketball arena for University of Michigan. And the other thing I remember from waiting in line all day was Stephanie from Germany
Yeah.
was like trying to like limber up and get ready for the run in down to the stage by like jogging up and down these that had like all these long stairs that went up to the venue and down to the parking lot. And she was like working out to
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of people at that show. Like Marcel. There was a lot of like old time Big Bob fans there. It kind of seemed like a lot of people came out of the woodwork for that one.
yeah. And that was a great show. The song I remember most from that show is Carrying a Torch,
Yeah.
which was another cover that Bob played every night pretty much, or maybe not every night, but a lot.
I don't think I
The
was
band,
next to you at that show because I was down pretty far left.
yeah, I was pretty much wherever Bob was situated at that time. I was like right in front of him, I remember.
Yeah.
And I just remember him singing that was amazing and
Yeah. I
had some
agree.
really good like contact with him. And even listening back, like I saw that song a bunch of times, but that Ann Arbor one was like the pinnacle for me of that song. I
Yeah.
really think it was like a great moving version.
I agree. I think that was the best one that I saw that tour.
Yeah.
And then it was my turn to take Chandler after that.
Right.
And we drove to Pittsburgh, which was a new adventure for me driving into Pittsburgh. I had definitely never driven into Pittsburgh before. And I guess, I had print out quest directions or
Oh
something.
yeah, that's the way it was.
I don't know, but he again like fell immediately asleep. And I remember I was trying to get to the venue, and I'm not sure that venue was like part of Carnegie Mellon University or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but I couldn't find it was I don't know what time it was. I think we had gone to somebody's house before that and we took off. And it was at Duquesne University, actually.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't figure
And
out how to like get,
Pittsburgh is like a 6 hour drive from Ann Arbor. It's
yeah.
not very
it
close.
was really far, and I was so tired at the end, and I was like, could not find a street that was going to go into where I wanted to go. And then I ended up just driving the wrong way down a one-way street, which is like Pittsburgh, like tunnels, bridges, one-way streets. I was
Yeah.
I don't care. It was 3 a.m. and I was like, I don't care. I'm just driving down the street because I need to get there. And I kind of did the same thing. I was like, get out, take our chairs, get out, go sit in line. I'm going to figure out where I can park this car for a while, and then I'll be out there with blankets.
Right.
We'll just
Yeah.
sit there. And, and we just sat there from like 3 a.m. till, showtime essentially. And I
Yeah.
remember you.
I can't remember like what my deal was. I think we must have.
You and Nicole showed up later. I remember that.
Yeah, because I think we probably went back to my house after the Ann Arbor show, and that would be the sane thing to do. I don't really remember, but I think we did stay in Ann Arbor and
Yeah.
then got up early and maybe showed up like early afternoon or something like that. I don't think that was one that I was there that super early for.
Yeah. But
But I think we all got on the front row, so maybe there just weren't a lot of people in line.
yeah, I can't remember how exactly. Well, that was like kind of the first day that we teamed up at a show.
Yeah.
That was another good one.
Yeah.
I remember Shelter from the Storm was so
Yeah.
awesome at that show.
Yeah. That was the debut of that like bluegrassy
Yeah.
version with Larry and Charlie singing harmony on it.
I loved all those harmonies. They were so
Yeah.
good.
Me too. Me too.
Just like, I don't know. They were like so out of this world. I felt like I was in space sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, they really were very transportive.
But yeah. And I forget what happened to me after that. I went somewhere. I ended up going to Toronto. I
From
think I
Pittsburgh?
went from Pittsburgh because I remember I drove with Jim
Yeah.
from his house in Toronto. And he was like, let me drive. And we drove back into the US, and he was going like 200 miles an hour in my car all the way there because we had gotten a late start. And I
Yeah.
got there, and you and Nicole were already in line that
At
day.
Almyra. Yeah.
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 Because I don't know why
Yeah.
Toronto. That was stupid. I don't know why I did that, but I don't know.
That doesn't even seem possible, but I guess
Well, I know I drove with him, and I don't think I stayed in Pittsburgh.
I remember seeing you when you showed up because Nicole and I were there really early. I don't remember where we stayed or what, but we were there before you. And I remember you showed up and you were like you had slept at maybe it was at Jim's house, I guess. But you were like people were supposed to like wake up earlier but then hadn't or whatever. So you were like pissed that you got there so late.
Yeah. Maybe that's why we were driving 200 miles an hour. I'm not sure. That was a show
Probably.
a lot of people that I knew were at too, like Marcel and Buried Under Tobacco Leaves.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy.
And I don't know who else was at that one. I remember that show also being a particularly good show.
Yeah, but I don't remember why.
Let me look. Let me see if I can check in on that. I think again, was that another? That was maybe like Mutineer was really good. Shelter from the Storm was
Yeah,
that show.
right.
Um, and Carrying a Torch, that was probably
Yeah,
really good there.
yeah,
I don't know. I remember us listening to that show a lot
yeah,
later.
I remember being sad because I thought it was like the end of the road for me for the tour.
And I was like, hell no.
But then,
Well, somehow, I guess, well, we had really connected through whatever
yeah,
in the days leading up to that. So
yeah,
we'd started emailing or whatever. I think I had planned, I was going to go to Fairfax
yeah.
no matter what, I think. Or did we
I
decide to go
don't
to
know. I feel like, I mean, it's whatever. It was a long time ago. And so a lot of things are foggy, but I felt like, I don't know if there were other shows after Almyra that you were going to or planning on going to, but I feel my memory of it is that we then like exchanged information after that and were emailing. And I didn't think that either of us had planned to go to Fairfax, but we were both like, we need to go to the last show of the tour together. And that was the first show that we actually traveled to together.
I think if I wasn't planning to go, I knew I had gone to the
You
DC
knew that you
show
wanted to.
the year before. So I
Oh,
knew
yeah.
it wasn't like it wasn't doable for my house
Mhm.
anyway. And I do
Yeah.
remember emailing you at some point between those, which I'm looking at, like Elmira was the 9th and then Fairfax was the 22nd, which is today.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't even realize that when we
Yeah.
decided to launch this video about
Yeah.
our going to our first show together.
There it is. So there was quite a bunch of time in between there, and I wasn't going to any of those because there was like New York and
Yeah.
Boston and
Yeah. No, it was definitely the end of the line for me there,
yeah. So I
as far
remember
as I
sending
knew.
you an email and being like, I don't know. Have you gone to any other shows since I saw you last?
Yeah.
Whatever, because I was like, oh, I hope she hasn't gone to any more shows. But maybe we had just like tentatively said we should go to the last show or something.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yep.
then we decided to go. So that was good. And
Yep.
we decided you would drive down from Ann
Yep.
Arbor and we'd drive from my house
Yep.
to Fairfax. And we drive
Yeah.
at night because it was like 6.5 hours or something.
Yeah.
So you headed down there. And I guess we must have left around midnight or something.
Yeah, because I think I left. I mean, I don't remember, but I got to your place late, and it was the first time I'd ever been there, and I don't know, we just turned it around and
Yeah, because we got there at like
started.
7 in the morning or something, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
And
we
you were
did.
kind of outfitted, like you had all your sleeping gear and
Yeah,
like, oh, this is impressive. Yeah, she's got
I
a
had a thermarest and a sleeping bag and a
yeah.
pillow. And I
I was
remember we
only
got
had a chair.
there, and maybe it was like just getting light. And
Yeah,
were other people there? Was
I
like
think there were
Chandler
other.
there?
I think other
Yeah,
people were there,
but
but
only like,
maybe only like 5 or 6 people.
yeah. And we rolled out our shit, and I remembered I was like, I'm gonna drink a beer. Had like a morning beer, but it didn't feel like a morning beer because it was still nighttime because we had just driven the whole night.
Yeah,
And then
I
maybe
had to
like,
go get our tickets
right.
at like 8 in the morning,
Yeah. And
and
I think I snoozed a little bit on
yeah,
the ground
you
there.
thought I wasn't coming back. You were like, I didn't think it because I was gone a couple hours. I think
I
you.
didn't know you that well.
It's, but I was back. I
I
don't
mean, I
remember us
don't
really
know why
going
I would
anywhere
have
that
thought you
day.
were coming back.
Well, I don't know. I just remember you being like, "Wow, you're gone a really long time," and I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if you
Yeah.
were gonna make it back or something.
Right. And I don't know how I'm getting back to Michigan if she doesn't come back or getting a ticket to the show.
Anyway, I got our tickets and I came back, and I don't remember. It was kind of in a weird place. It was kind of like out in the
It was just like my memory of it, it was like amongst a bunch of like highways and not
Yeah.
really anything nearby. So there wasn't like a store we could walk to or anything. I don't know what we ate. Maybe we got something.
I think maybe Marcel or somebody brought us food.
Yeah. And I think that we knew somebody, or you knew somebody who had like a hotel room. And I remember that we were going to try to, they were going to let us go there and like get changed and maybe take a shower or something. But we started driving to it, and I think it was like a weekday, and it was like rush hour in the
Yeah.
greater DC area, and we like were in the car for like 50 minutes and only went like a few miles, and so we are like, we don't have time, so we turned it around and went back to the venue, because I remember then like finding some like bathroom that we could go into and like, taking like a horror's bath like to wash a little. So we had just been like driving and sleeping on the ground and changing, and then that was it. That was as good as it was gonna get.
Well, that came became very familiar over
Yes.
time.
But at the time it was really one of the first times that I had kind
Yeah.
of done something like that. So
Yeah, and we kind of, well, part of that was somehow we knew it was going to be Charlie's first last show. And I think
yeah,
that was part of our like decision making.
that's true, because
On,
that wasn't common knowledge. We got some insider information that Charlie was gonna be done with
yeah.
touring with Bob.
And we were like, well, we have to go because
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. That definitely drove the decision.
yeah. And that
And
was cool. Like that whole show was really good. Like it just busted out super high energy.
yeah, that show of all these ones we're talking about is actually, I mean, I wouldn't say like crystal clear, but I have a lot of clear memories from that show that really were standouts. There was, I remember a lot, I remember maybe it was Mutineer, like one of the Zevon songs that night was just like meltingly good. Maybe because Bob knew it was, the last time he was going to be doing it, and Warren was kind of on his way out a year later. And yeah, there was a lot of really amazing moments. And then, of course, the summer days, which was Charlie's
Well,
last. Well,
I was
yeah.
thinking of that, but I was also thinking back to Kent, and Kent had the really,
Mm,
really good summer.
that's true. Yeah, that is true. That was kind of like the sort of like a shining moment from that show that everybody talks about, was the summer days from
Yeah.
that.
But I mean, Fairfax was equally as good. Like everyone, not George, but everyone else in the band was like down on the floor.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like that was like, I can't remember who it was first. I want to say it was like Tony first. Like, there was like this amazing Summer Days jam, and then Tony got like way down with his bass, and then Charlie, and like literally, like you can find a photo of it out there because somebody captured it. Like they're all pretty much like laying down doing the
Yeah.
Summer Days jam, including Bob,
Like, what is
which was
going
just
on
like,
here? This is
yeah, and
crazy.
fucking everybody just going crazy. And, that's the kind of thing that you want to have like a GA standing show for, because
Right.
I mean, it was just blew the roof
Yeah.
off.
The energy
Really
coming off of
incredible.
people that were in the front.
Yeah.
Everyone was just like,
It's like, what's going
like, what are
on?
they
Dylan is laying
doing?
down on the floor. Yeah,
They
that was
like
a memorable one.
Bob and Charlie like hugged at the end of that.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that was so cool. That's crazy. And
Yeah.
then we were like just started driving home, and we stopped at the Hampton Inn, and it was something weird happened there too. We were checking in, and some man started talking to us or something. And neither of us were like really bothered at all. He was just like
Yeah.
in the lobby or whatever. And then we went to check in, and the girl checking us in was like, I'm so sorry. I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah. I
give
do
you like
remember
a
that.
25% off your room for being
Ah,
harassed. We were like,
right.
Okay, well, sure. Okay. Yeah, that was horrible. Thank you for the 25% off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we kind of just got in the room and turned the lights off, and then we were just talking about the shows we'd been to and stuff, and like all the
Yeah.
things that happened. And
Yeah.
eventually, you must have had a lot of beer. Maybe we stopped somewhere. I don't know.
I probably brought a lot of beer with me. I think I probably brought a cooler.
And then we got up in the morning and we just laid in bed and watched Castaway
Yeah.
for
I remember
forever.
that. And we
And
had a long drive, but I just felt like neither of us wanted it to end. So we were like,
no, neither of
we'll
us
just
wanted
get a
it.
late checkout and watch Tom Hanks and Castaway.
Well, we'd gone to a party after the show.
Right.
So it was pretty
Yeah.
late when we got wherever
Yeah.
we were going.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll dive deeper into the spring 2003 tour, which,
Yeah.
was very important in the
Yes.
process leading up to the fan club.
Yes.
So even more funny and weird stories to tell then because we were together for all of those. So
Definitely a wild ride
it made it.
that we're excited to share.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
All right.
Signing off.